Hi, this is Andrew from Andrew's Workshop, a DIY woodworking channel. I hope you find this video useful. So here's how the original handrail looked. They're just metal handrail that was painted white. At the top of the staircase there are these 4 stairs here, and there wasn't actually a wall-mounted handrail there, so I added one. So whoever put the metal handrail on, they anchored it into the drywall using some kind of drywall anchor, but clearly, as you can see, it did not work very well. When I took it off, it just tore a hole through the wall. So I stuck this square into the hole and poked it until it hit a stud, and that's what I marked there with the blue tape. That's the location of the stud. So here's the poplar handrail. I purchased it profiled, so I didn't have to do that part on the router. And here's a sample piece of the handrail. I was testing a few different stains just to see what we wanted to go with. So as you can see here, I cut this diagonal portion of handrail to length and installed it temporarily. I wanted to have a horizontal portion of the handrail to continue onto that landing right there, and it was a bit complex to get the two to meet up perfectly. So what I had to do was I used this digital level. So I drew up the connection would be between the diagonal and the horizontal, and I marked the 39-degree angle that I measured, and then this showed me exactly what I need to set my miter saw to. So I did the same thing for the top few stairs there, and that handrail came out to 39 degrees as well. So there it is installed. As you can see, I added returns as well. In order to do that, at both ends of the handrails, you just need to miter it at 45 degrees and then measure how long of a return you need. The requirement for the local code in my area is to have at least a 1.5 inch gap between the handrail and the wall, but check your local residential codes, etc. So if you have a router table, you don't have to do this getup that I have here, but what I did is I attached some wooden rulers to my router with these little clamps, and that just makes it so we have a guide, like a rail that we could ride along the handrail itself to route in the groove all the way along the bottom, and that's where we put the LED light strips. Again, if you have a router table, then that would save you from having to make this contraption. So the router bit you want to use is just one that cuts straight. You want it to be just over the width of your LED light strip. So actually I had a dovetail bit on there, and there it is routed in. That's a sample. So as you can see in this picture, the routing of that groove doesn't go along the entire length of the handrail. You have to take into account the areas that the supports are at. As you can see here, that's how I took into account that area where the support is at. I just used like a chisel and cut out that portion where my wire will run. So here's a view from underneath the handrail. As you can see, I already have the light on here, but take a look at the return there at the bottom. I used a pocket hole to screw that into the stud that's in the wall there. Since the first support above that is pretty far away, it's like 1.5 feet or so, I used that pocket hole along with the pocket hole screw, and so that return is actually fixed to the stud there at the bottom, so it has good support. So here's the top handrail installed as well. Here's another angle of that, the pocket hole, and as you can also see, there's the wire that goes through the handrail there in the return. So I actually have that wire routed into the wall, it goes down between the studs all the way to the bottom, and right behind that wall is a little bathroom, and I routed that cable behind the baseboards in the bathroom. It's just low voltage cable, so I felt comfortable doing that. Check your local electrical codes, etc., etc. And then eventually that wire goes underneath the sink in that little bathroom to a couple of switches, and I'll show later on what that looks like. Okay, so this is very interesting, I guess you call it, but here's one of the joints where the diagonal and the horizontal portion of handrail meet. So what I did there is I put some like sawdust and wood glue together. Basically it just keeps it continuous between both, and then of course I put glue between the cross sections of the handrails as well. So here I stained the handrail, and then here I applied a coat of polyurethane, and then eventually another couple coats. There's the handrail stained and installed. As you can see, there is some low voltage wire there that runs along the stairs where the stairs meet the wall. That wire is for the top few stairs for that handrail. How I cover that up is I built and installed skirt boards along the wall there, and the wire is neatly hidden behind that. To see how I built and installed the seamless skirt boards that are there now, take a look at the video above. So here's how the final product looks. This is with the skirt boards installed, as I mentioned earlier, and here's the handrail. So let's just take a look at what that looks like. Here the wire goes into the wall, and then down, and I'll actually show you what happens here then. So it goes down, and it travels behind the baseboards. Then to here. So what I have here is two switches. The one at the left is a programmable switch. The one at the right is a dimmable switch. The power is connected to the programmable switch, the line is. And then that turns on at sunset and then off at sunrise. That's how I have it programmed. And then that communicates to the dimmer switch here. So I could change the brightness of the LED lights. I hope that all made sense. So as you can see, we have the two cables coming here. One of them is for the bottom handrails, the other one's for the top. So we'll just walk up now. I'll also leave a link in the description to the LED light strips I got specifically. These ones have a ton of little LEDs per inch, so you don't notice little dots, like separate dots, like you do for some of the other ones. So yeah, there's actually a low voltage cable behind these screw boards. And then it comes out of the wall, or rather, goes into the wall right there, and then comes out the return, as you can see. Yep. And that's the end of it right there.